I'm so glad that I'm here in this wonderful conference and to talk to you about exponential technologies. And I would like to start with a little observation that I did since I came here in this conference, and that is that there's a kind of negative feeling about what technology is doing and is going to do. Losing jobs, we are dying because of CRISPR-Cas9 technology. I'm exaggerating, of course, but the truth is that the last century, life only improved. We have never been in human history in a time where it is so good as where we are now. Poverty plummeting. Child mortality plummeting. Diseases and control of diseases plummeting. And yes, we do have this antibiotics problem. We do have that. But what we also have, a little story. I was in San Francisco at the Singularity University Global Summit, and I talked to a couple of students who were in the GSP, the Global Solution Program. And they said to me, Paul, we bought multi-resistant bacteria. Oh, I didn't know that you could buy them, but they bought them. And what they did, they reprogrammed the DNA of viruses that kill the bacteria. That's the new way of how we want to go about with diseases, is using the same technology for a different purpose. But somehow, that is how our brains are wired, we are focusing on negative news. Whereas what we see around us is very positive. And the Singularity University is one of the organizations focusing on the positive things. What we are trying to do is using exponential technology to work on solving 12 grand world problems. And those problems are, for instance, poverty, health, education, energy, clean water, etc. Using exponential technology to solve that. And we are pretty successful in doing that. And not only if I'm talking about we, then globally. So I'm the chapter lead of the Singularity University here in Dubai. I live in Dubai, I work in Dubai. I work for Philips Transformation Services. So we are helping healthcare organizations to change. And yes, I am a clinician. And healthcare is going to change, and going to change dramatically. And here is the first guy. Maybe he heard one of my presentations, because I'm telling for the last 10 years, healthcare is going to be cheaper. But we don't use the technology that is available yet, because our population in healthcare is so conservative. Right. Let's go to the meat. This is an old slide, but what we see here is actually a very interesting trend that we see. This is actually the increase of computational power that drives exponential technology. And the interesting thing here is, whatever happens here on this line, that increase never stopped. If you have a depression, if you have a war, if you have whatever, that thing is going on. And what you see also is that this curve is every next step from a tube to a integrated circuit is going faster, every next step. And we don't know yet what the next step will be, but probably that will be the quantum computing, which makes our computers that we have today 1,000,000 times faster. And imagine what that will do. Exponential technologies, just to mention a couple of them, cognitive computing, artificial intelligence that we heard today a lot, digital biology, biotech, amazing area, what we see happening there, digitization of practically everything, genomics, etc. The most important thing here is it is really becoming interesting if those exponential technology intersect. What does that mean? Artificial intelligence, robot technology, and nanotechnology, you get something like nanobots. And those nanobots can do a lot of interesting things inside your body. So maybe the diagnostics in the future will not be from outside in, but from inside out. The interesting thing that we also see in this exponential growth curve is that the price of the technology drops. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, how that works. If you today, as SMEs, startups, corporates, multinationals, well, they are already doing that, the focus is the globe. It is not the UAE, it is not the Middle East, it is the globe. If your work is not focusing on global level, you will get a hard time because others do that. The development of innovation and technology usually goes through these 6 steps. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about these steps, very high level. First step is digitization. And Mark and JP just said, well, forget that, we are not digitizing everything. I think that every physical thing will be digitized. And that is what we see here. Even the human body will be digitized in sense of that people are working at this moment as we speak on your digital twin. Your digital twin. You have a copy of yourself in a digital way. So if there is a problem, people will use your digital twin to do tests, etc. Genomics is what we see, biotechnology, areas where revolutionary developments are taking place as we speak. Yesterday in virtual reality I saw a demo that an avatar of you as a doctor, as a physician, is in an operation room assisting the real doctor, talking and even using the computer in a virtual world. It's amazing, and that is just the start of it. Once we digitize our product, our service, we will go through a deception phase. And that is what we see a lot. Artificial intelligence, well, we are talking so long time about it, but what do we have? Our human brains are way faster and way better and blah, 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 blah. Imagine we are still scratching the surface. But scratching the surface goes faster and faster and faster because we are on that exponential growth curve. Every 15 months, 18 months, the power of computation doubles. And that is the formula behind this. Who of you thought 20 years ago of 3D printing? Probably nobody here. But 20 years ago, 10 years before that, 15 years before that, it was already out. But it was still in the deception phase. It has to, once it hits the whole number, 1, 2, 4, 8, etc., then it really goes acceleration phase. That's what's happening with the deception phase. And people think, perfect example. We started in 1995 with sequencing our DNA. By 2000, the people who are working on it said, well, we better can stop. put in billions of dollars, and we are not even 1% further. Ray Kurzweil, one of the founders of the Singularity University, he said, well, 1%, then you're almost done. In 2005, the human genome was sequenced at the cost of $1 million. Today, within an hour, the cost of $80. Imagine what it will be in 3 years. Cheaper than drinking a glass of water. That's where we are. Then the next phase, disruption. These kind of examples is what you know. All of a sudden they are there. And they are disrupting existing structures. I can add here one, SME startups. There is another platform that you really can use, very powerful, which is Be Innovative. That is a design thinking platform that you can use to do your work in designing your ideas, your whatever. Dematerialization, the best example is your phone, your smartphone. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had to bring your video camera, you had to bring your camera, you had to bring your navigation system, you had to bring your whatever. It's all in one little device for free. Democratization is the next phase. Once that hits the market, it becomes democratized. An example here is the development of Facebook and Google. They are now working on getting internet access everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world. And what does that mean? What does that mean in the democratization as well? That means that by 2020, 3 billion new minds will enter that internet. And what will they do? They will invent, they will change, they will share. They are going to change our world. When MOOCs, so the massive online courses that you can follow for free, started by Stanford University, everybody was upset. How can you do that? But it was already out, so management couldn't stop it. They went out, and then at the moment that the tests had to be done, the interesting thing was that the first Stanford student was number 16. People from India, rural areas in Indonesia were better than the students in Stanford. That's the effect of this. It's very interesting. And between those 3 billion, absolutely there will be a couple of people like Gates and Steve Jobs. So for the SMEs, that is only 2 slides left, but the most important, I think, this talk will come now, is how are we going that world of abundance? Because if everything is going to be democratized, demonetized, and being available for everybody, we are creating a world of abundance, right? Whatever you can think of, it can be made, and it is available. What we are doing, and one of the spin-offs of the work that we do in the Singularity University is the work that Salim Ismail did. He wrote a book, Exponential Organizations, to help organizations to become exponentially. Because we are still thinking linearly. We are building business models on the principles that worked in the 20th century. They don't work in the 21st century because of the exponential technologies. It simply doesn't work. But because we are thinking linearly, we don't understand the exponential work. As Neil Jacobson says, our brains haven't had an upgrade in the last 50,000 years. And that is the problem that we are facing. This book and this theory behind this book gives us, well, let's say tools that can make our SMEs, startups, really exponential. What does that mean? Is the tools help you to use that abundant world. If I hear this morning from the space organization here in Dubai, is, well, we are not using, or we are not outsourcing. That is one of the principles that we say, well, you have to do that. Because the smartest people are not working in your organization. They are outside. But you have, not that you have to find them, they have to find you and use them temporarily. What they did at Kaggle. Yeah? Lots of stories behind it. And then, once you use that abundant world, how do you interface that to your own organization? That is where we are talking about in our Exo Works group. And that counts for healthcare, that counts for education, that counts for banking, for insurance, everywhere. But people don't understand this abundant world really well. You have to tap into that. How are we doing that? Actually very simple. We are starting with an awake moment. What is going on in the exponential world? What does CRISPR-Cas9 really do? What does artificial intelligence do? How can we look in our brains and see what you think? Those kind of things is what we are going to tell, and what that does to your industry, to your company. Then we create in the core stream, what you see here, is try to improve the existing work, because that is the money making. But you can improve that to make it a little bit better. But still in the core. The most important thing is the edge stream. So we are making a little selection of people out of your organization and put them in a little group, not connected to the core. Because if they, and the assignment that they get, find something that disrupts our own industry, our own company, find something. Max 3 groups, do that. Get the freedom to work on that. 10 weeks, not longer. And they are not allowed to talk to the core. Because the first thing that happens is the immune system kicks in. No. Look what we do. We are doing blah, 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 blah. I hear that every day. And once you go a step deeper, oh wow, yeah. Now we understand. And then at the end of the 10 weeks, the edge group and the core group are presenting their results. And then the company chooses 1 or 2 of these edges that can become a new business for the organization, or they say, well, we sell it and do something with it. 10 weeks time, we did a lot of work with big companies to change them, and it is really powerful. What usually takes 2 years can be done in 10 weeks. Really hard work, but the understanding of what exponential technology does is key here, is key. Thank you very much.